Hello everyone, Alcalger the SideQuest Gamer here, and Collectathons. I like collecting things, you like to collect things, we all like to collect things once in a while. We like to collect stuff to progress further in our adventure, don't we? Collectathons are a subgenre for 3D platformers exclusive to the 5th generation of video games, and it kind of died out in the 6th generation of video games because they were only made because developers could only make so many 3D worlds, and they wanted the player to get the most out of those few worlds they could render. So, hence the collectibles. You collect things to progress further, and you beat the game by collecting almost everything or everything in the game. They may be gone, but definitely not forgotten. There are so many people who love Collectathons and want them to come back so bad. Heck, look at the Kickstarters for A Hat in Time and Ukulele. That just proves there's some market for the Collectathon genre. And there's some already on Steam. They may be obscure than most of the Collectathons you hear about, but it does prove there's some interest in it. But let's remember the old classic 3D Collectathons from the 90s and early 2000s, shall we? So without further ado, let me list my 5 favorite Collectathons of all time. As of writing, Ukulele and A Hat in Time is not out yet, so this is more of an as of writing list. Okay, let's roll the footage, shall we? Number 5, Gex 2, Enter the Gecko. This Collectathon is one I recently got into, and I have to say that while its camera can be obnoxiously finicky, and the game doesn't add a whole lot to the 3D platformer Collectathon subgenre, Gex 2 is pretty funny. It has memorable level themes taking place inside TV shows of all things, and who doesn't like Gex's referential humor? No haunting before 10 p.m. Get it? Because that's when most horror shows are on. 10 p.m. No, not funny. Although I do agree that time has obscured the meaning of these references. Well, oh well. Gotta collect me some of those remotes, and that is the goal for each world, and I really liked Gex 2, and I recommend giving it a shot. Number 4, Jak and Daxter, the Precursor Legacy. Before the series went open world in a Grand Theft Auto kind of style, the beloved Naughty Dog series started with a Collectathon game, simply called Jak and Daxter, the Precursor Legacy. And the reason I really like this game is because while it is very similar to other Collectathons, most notably Banjo Tooie, and it's not very strong in the story department, it does have the no load time open world, which I found pretty immersive. Not to mention that the levels themselves are really fun to play through, although the reason why it's lower on this list is because of its flawed health system where you really have to go out of your way to regain health. Unlike Banjo where all you have to do is collect honeycomb pieces, or Super Mario 64 where you have to collect coins to replenish health. But other than that, Jak and Daxter is a pretty solid Collectathon, and while I do prefer its 2 sequels, as a Collectathon, it's a really fun game. That's all I can really say. Give it a shot when you have the chance. Number 3, ready for a cliche entry in this list? Super Mario 64/64DS. I know, cliche, right? Like, everybody who makes these kind of lists always includes Super Mario 64. Well, if I am to recommend one version though, get the DS version, as while it doesn't have the best control when compared to its console counterpart, it does have a much better camera and improved visuals, plus there's more to collect. But anyway, Super Mario 64 is a game that pretty much started the Collectathon subgenre, where your goal is to collect Power Stars as a method of progression. Although other Collectathons have a substitute for Power Stars, like Jiggies. And while I'm not a huge fan of the level design and worlds themselves, they are memorable for the most part and fun to play through. Well, some of them are fun to play through, although there are way too many instant kill hazards to my best game ever. No, not even my top 10 Nintendo 64 games personally, but it's still a pretty good game worth checking out. Although it's a lot better on the DS, no question about it. Number 2. Banjo Kazooie. Wait, no, I meant Banjo Tooie. Sorry to fake you out again, but I don't get the lack of high reverence for Banjo Tooie. I mean, come on, it's a really good game, people. Yes, the levels are much bigger and the game is very long, but I don't care. Banjo Tooie is a game where it takes everything great about the first game and expands upon that. What were you expecting? It even fixes some of my major gripes with Banjo Tooie. You know those moments in Kazooie where you're trying to get 100 music notes in a level to get a Jiggy, which is the game's main collectible by the way, and then a slight momentary lapse of judgment results in you dying, and when you return to that level, you have to collect all 100 notes again. Well, that's fixed. Remember the few bosses you had to fight with, most of them being pretty underwhelming? Fixed! They added more bosses and have more complex strategies to make them fun to fight. And you know how Gruntilda Castle was pretty much Peach's castle from Super Mario 64? Fixed! Now you have an open world of sorts with Jinjo Village and the Isle of Hags. Sure, the first one is great, and I'm not saying the sequel is perfect, as it does have a few issues itself, but it's still an overall fun adventure that deserves more love than it gets. But before we move on to number 1, here are some honorable mentions that you're probably angry that I didn't include on this list, but I'm honorably mentioning them, so that should be good enough. And my favorite Collectathon game of all time is Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage. Of all the Collectathons I've played, I feel Spyro 2 has stood the test of time the best. I love exploring the worlds of Avalar, collecting orbs and talismans, all to prevent Ripto and his 2 minions from wreaking havoc in Avalar. It's a selfless deed nonetheless, although I did enjoy 100%ing this game, defeating Ripto and even enjoying going to Dragon Shores as your reward. It's not just some cutscene, no, you actually get to participate in Spyro visiting Dragon Shores. Why do I like this game so much? Because it's the most fun to play, and at least to me, has the least amount of technical issues. The 360-degree rotating camera is fine, so is the controls, and other than a few annoying mini-games you need to beat to get a few orbs, the game for the most part is technically sound. If there's one Collectathon I recommend above all, it's this game. Sorry Super Mario 64 fans, sorry people who think Year of the Dragon is much better, that's how I honestly feel. It's just the most fun for me to replay. So that's my top 5 favorite Collectathons. Well, obviously, it's in the title. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and whether you agree or disagree, tell me some of your favorite Collectathons in the comment section below. Where else would it be? And I'd like to give a special thanks to Bilia, the Sega Gamer, for suggesting this top 5 list. It was really fun to make, and I hope you like it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to stay awesome.